Hello everyone, my name is Hui Wen, and today I will be talking about how readers socially read in today's daily life. Let's start today's presentation with a short story. Jack is a fan of detective novels. One day he watched Sherlock TV series, which inspired him to read the book of Sherlock Holmes. He was deeply attracted by the exciting stories in the book and searched through the internet for more relevant information about this great detective. Then he found a discussion group in WeChat that many Sherlock Holmes fans got together. Some people also shared some fan fiction stories about Sherlock Holmes and his nemesis Professor Moriarty. Jack enjoyed the discussion in that group. One day, one of the members in that group recommended a Japanese author, Hikishino Kiko's book, The Devotion of the Suspect X. Jack was also interested in this book, and then he started a new reading journey. From the story, we can see that reading is not only a solitary activity. Many other social activities happened before, during, and after reading, such as obtaining reading recommendations, seeking more relevant information, and interact with other readers. The reader is not alone. They may establish a tight or loose relationship with their friends and even with strangers, such as authors and the publisher. There are also many social reading activities that have been well researched before, such as group discussion, adding comments for printed or digital material, and so on. We also observed many social reading activities happened in both physical and digital environment. It may happen in a bookstore or libraries. It may also happen in a digital reading environment, including digital reading platforms such as Amazon Kindle, professional book review platforms such as Goodreads, and diverse social media platforms such as forums, blog, instant messaging platforms. The term of social reading has been defined in several previous studies. However, these definitions disagree on the scope, the importance of the contextual environment, and even the social reading behaviors themselves. To consolidate the key features from the previous literature, we redefined social reading here. Social reading is a reader-centered reading activity in which readers interact with socially created information outside the reading material or directly with other people as part of their reading activity. We consider social reading to span both physical and digital worlds, and no matter whether a reader establishes a close relationship with other people or generated information or not. As long as a reader refers to a material outside the original reading material and does not only read in isolation, we would treat it as social reading. We treat reading as a central activity, but do not limit reading effort to the time spent on the main item being read. We take a broader view, including all the relevant activities that happened before, during, and after reading as a part of social reading. Many previous studies have identified many social reading activities and research across both physical and digital environment. However, these phenomena have been studied in isolation. We lack an overview and understanding of the whole flow of the social reading. That's what we want to discover through this study. We conducted a 3-phase diary study blended with interviews with 14 participants from China. We followed their daily reading experience and tried to collect all the relevant information behavior during their reading. We utilized WeChat to collect diaries and communicate with our participants. And finally, we collected 167 high-quality diary entries in total for further analysis. After the diary collection process, we also conducted post-diary interviews with each participant to investigate more about their social reading experience. We use open coding to capture their social reading behaviors. We discovered 60 typical behaviors and classified these into 4 categories: inspiration and motivation, reading, understanding and enriching, and social interaction. Those categories are also the 4 main activities during the social reading journey. Finally, we used Excel coding to investigate the sequence order among the activities and generate the social reading journey model. As we mentioned before, our model contains 4 main activities. In the next few slides, we will go through the journey of social reading step by step. A reader's social reading journey may start from discovering a reading inspiration or another motivation for reading. There are two typical behaviors in this activity. Firstly, a reader may obtain reading recommendations from multiple channels. Some recommendations are automatically generated by the reading platforms, which are usually based on the reader's reading history or reading taste. Usually, these reading recommendations are generated based on a specific recommendation algorithm. Examples include, after reading this, you may also like to read, the bestseller book list, and so on. Readers may also obtain many socially sourced recommendations. For example, they can obtain reading advice through communication with other people, and these direct or indirect interactions with each other may happen in both physical and digital environment. Like we mentioned before, the digital environment contains both digital reading platforms and many social media platforms. The socially sourced recommendations also vary from blogs to comments and even some video materials such as movie, vlog, and so on. Secondly, the social reading journey may begin in a real task. This task could be a reading goal, like aiming to read 5 books this month. Sometimes they may aim to seek for further reading material to facilitate their work or study. Different people have different reading goals. When readers decide what to read, they may turn to the next stage, reading. Reading can also be the first step of the social reading journey when readers refer to their primary reading material, and reading is a core activity in this model. Based on the coding of the genres of the reading material that the readers mentioned, we classify the reading material into 3 format types, and these 3 categories cover the majority of the material reported by our participants in the Chinese community. First is the books from digital reading platforms. These are the most common and frequently used reading material for reading digital books. This covers fictional books, factual books, comic books, and so on. Second is online news and articles, which represent the digital form of traditional newspapers and magazines. This is a critical format that readers usually read at fragmented time. Thirdly, forum-hosted fiction is the novel reading format, where a document is gradually reviewed in separate posts. These forum fictions are usually fan fictions and appear in online communities related to professionally published books. Although this is less popular than the previous 2 genres, the way that readers interact with those stories is unique. During reading, readers may refer to other information to facilitate the reading process, which leads to Activity 3. They may also directly interact and communicate with other people, which leads to Activity 4. As mentioned in the last few slides, readers sometimes refer to information outside the reading material to help them understand ideas or enrich their reading experience. This may happen not only in reading platforms but also in diverse social media platforms. Within the digital reading platforms, the comments or reviews for a book or an article are the main way that readers seek for supplementary information. Beyond the digital reading platforms, the social media platforms provide more channels for the reader to get access to a variety of relevant information. For example, they may also search through the internet by Google to investigate more relevant information. Usually, this information appears in an article format from blogs, forums, or other website platforms. Some readers also simply browse old messages from others in a discussion group to find some information. On these occasions, in contrast to the direct interaction seen in the social interaction activity, the readers will not join the discussion, just browse the message history. Moreover, mass media such as music, opera, movie, and TV series are also being mentioned in the context of fictional reading. These mass media usually are adapted from a novel. This process could be treated as a reversion in that readers obtain reading inspiration from these adapted TV shows. Like what we discovered in the reading stage, we also observed direct interaction between readers in the understanding and enriching stage. Then we turn to Activity 4, social interaction. We found that it may happen during both the reading and the understanding and enriching stages. In contrast to the indirect social interaction in Activity 3, where the readers get ideas primarily from user-generated content. In this stage, people directly interact with each other and actively generate their own content. According to the scope of the social sphere, we divided the social interaction behaviors into 3 groups. First is the person-to-person interaction. Readers synchronously or asynchronously communicate with people in both digital reading platforms and multiple social media platforms, or through face-to-face communication. Secondly, readers may also participate in a discussion in an online discussion group or a physical reading club. Finally, readers' social interaction are not always focused on a specific group, but simply address public world. These interactions do not anticipate receiving any response from other people. We treated this phenomenon as interacting with the public world. Here, readers may generate their own content and post on the network. Sometimes this could also be joining a social activity like voting for their favorite books. Now let's go back to Activity 1. We found that readers encounter their reading inspiration or motivation at any stage during the whole social reading journey, and that reading stems from and leads to the other stages. They may start a new journey at any stage from their current journey. Therefore, the social reading journey model here is a circular model. It is dynamic and flexible. Searching and browsing are 2 fundamental information-seeking behaviors with many models, like Marchionnini's searching model, behavioral picking model, and so on. Our study models a 3rd key information activity, reading. We try to understand a full picture of reading and how readers search and browse for information as part of reading. With the development of technology, the social context of reading has changed. We also identified many new behaviors not mentioned in previous work, such as getting reading recommendations from micro-video blogging on TikTok. Within our model, there are 4 sub-activities, and each activity contains many behaviors. In the future, it is worth examining these tactical behaviors in depth. It is also worth considering how to establish an effective social reading context in different situations, maybe for work, for study, for leisure. Readers' needs likely vary in different contexts. That's all. Thank you for your attention. We look forward to your questions.